All right. You sound good. Yeah, I mean, if you need to, you pull this closer to you, whatever. But you can hear yourself, so we're good.
True.
And mics are hot. Cameras are hot. And this is episode 241 of the No Hangover podcast. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, rate across all platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts and we're on Spotify. Check us out on our socials on Instagram at No Hangover Podcast and on TikTok at No_Hangover. Make sure you engage with me, comment, let me know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll go back and forth a little bit. We're back with another one.
Like it.
This has been a couple months in the making. We sat down at the showcase for a little bit, but now we're finally here in person on the actual podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Of course, my name is Dallas Ramos. Once again, shout out to No Hangover Podcast. Eric, of course, on my left side.
You already know.
Maybe on the right to y'all, how y'all looking at it. But I definitely appreciate the time spent. We just linked when it came to the showcase.
Yeah.
Of course, Malcolm, Free World Radio, everybody.
Yeah, shout out to them. That shit was dope. I mean, that was kind of how I was gonna start out. Like, how's it been since the showcase? Do you feel like that whole opportunity, that whole experience, you feel like it kind of gave you a new life, new anything, new energy? Like, what have you gone from that since then? Because it's been almost a month,
about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Honestly, when it came down to it, the showcase in itself, like I said, was great. Like I said, the turnout was really good. The artists were definitely on point. I felt like everybody had their own niche, own unique sound. As far as it came from me, I mean, it just showed everything that I've felt like has been working to this point, meaning music's there, opportunity just needs to meet with the timing, and then that preparation just all came about, and the passion, the connection, and the fact is that I actually was cool with him because we're definitely both graduates from Full Sail.
Oh, bet.
So it made it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And I graduated, I believe, in 2018. If not, right before 2019. And then from there, I linked up with him from a couple of showcases that I did before that. And then I got on the Last Act showcase, which was really nice too. And then from there, me and him had just been linking, and then this opportunity came right about. And I know he said he wanted to do two big showcases. That was his goal. I remember he said on the podcast with you. That was the best part of it because it's funny how those two showcases he wanted, I was also on the bill. So it's just kind of ironic how it kind of worked out like simultaneously. And I believe from that point, it's just been growing. And as far as what I gained from it, I just felt like I got the due that I felt like was needed. It was nice to, do the showcase, not having to necessarily pay. Yeah. Just showcase the fact that, my talent was warrant and it was there. And I had the opportunity, and I didn't disappoint him. I just kept it rolling. And, I didn't realize you didn't get to see the showcase, though.
But, I was working, dog. I was working.
Yeah.
But, how do these showcases usually work? Because I'm kind of new to this, to the music scene, the rap scene in Orlando. Like, how do they usually work, like, as far as, I know I guess more times than not, you kind of have to pay to play a little bit and things like that. But is there ever any type of, like, compensation or, like, prize, reward, anything like that? Or is it just strictly like, hey, I'm just... here's however much. I'm just trying to show you what I got, get in front of people, get my shit in front of people.
Honestly, excuse me, it can be both. More often than not, though, a lot of these times, like my homie broke it down. Shout out to 100G, by the way. 100G is, once again, he's in Orlando, definitely been around since I've been up here. But yes, when it came to that whole thing, it's just like anything else, bro. A lot of these showcases have, like, let's say the bill is like, let's say the venue's for like $200-300.
Yeah.
So you as the promoter, you got $300, and you're already booked out a showcase. Now you need people, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, pay to play. On the low end, that's 25. If I got 15, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I paid them, and then like, okay, about 30. And then if you want like extras, like, okay, we'll give you a video recap. It might be at a big studio, or like the opportunity. Like,
so you're like
said,
essentially paying
50.
for a package, essentially.
Yeah. So a lot of the times it's like, okay, you see yourself in one way, but then, a lot of the times it's not always that. Because, the industry is definitely like, you ever seen Jackie Promoters?
Mm-mm.
Never seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Ice Cube, of course. That's one of his like, that was like one of his up and coming movies. It's kind of like what bridged the gap for him. We all know Friday was the one that ascended him. But this was like a little spinoff of like to show you how it is. And it's really much like that. a lot of these promoters are like, it's a cash grab.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you might feel like you like this, but if you ain't got no numbers, most of the time you coming to them, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So, it is important to build the fan base, build that connection. Because a lot of the times, just like anything else, I try and teach people, like, the easiest way to understand it is leverage. Just like in any business transaction, whoever has the most leverage literally is going to get the best offer.
Right.
And that's just point blank, period. And a lot of people forget that. So, you at the beginning of it, if you are like an up and coming artist, you are going to pay to play in some sense, or more often than not, you will. Yeah. But if you bridge that gap where that one opportunity seeps in between those times, and then from there you keep it up and you keep that leverage going, before you know it, they're coming to you.
Well, I think that's part of it too. Like you're saying, like you got to be able to keep that up and like, kind of strike when the iron's hot. Because it seems like, at least from what I've seen in the past year, especially in Orlando, it seems like, people will get to a certain point and then kind of get comfortable and then not really do anything else and just kind of, I guess maybe just you live off that hype for a little bit from whatever they were doing, and then it just, people kind of fizzle out or whatever. So I do think that, especially in music, especially in rap, like, you got to, when something's popping, when you're hot, when you're on that streak, you got to build on that, and you can't get complacent with it. So I think that's also a big part of it too. But so where are you originally from then? If you're not from...
I'm originally from Florida throughout.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not from Orlando, of course.
All right.
I came up here in Full Sail. So I came up here in 2015.
From down south?
Well, 2015 I graduated. 2016 is when I got enrolled.
From down south? Or?
Mm-hmm. I grew up in a small agricultural town. So I'm literally hanging around with the Zoes, nothing but I say to them. There's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of Haitian people, of course Mexicans, Tejano, everything. I'm just from an agricultural town, and there was like very few white folks, of course. There was maybe like 2, maybe less than 5 in my school.
Damn.
At the time I graduated.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a freshman, when we graduated, I think there was over 1,000 kids at my school. By the time we graduated, no lie, there was less than 700. So a lot of those kids either left or didn't finish.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Once again, it's called Immokalee, Florida, right next to Naples. Everybody knows where Naples is.
You fucking so that's on over like by the west side or west coast.
Southwest Florida.
Yeah. Damn. Because my graduating class was like 500, 600. So like I grew up here in Orlando, so like it's always funny talking to people that you go 2 hours south or 2 hours north outside of Orlando. Like it gets real fucking rural real quick, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that shit. When you start talking to people that grew up in these areas and like, yeah, my graduating class was like 200 people, 300 people, like not even like the whole school or whatever. So it's like, it is, it's funny to see that from, just cause I guess growing up here, you don't really realize it, but like Orlando's like a pretty decent sized city. And like, as you get older, you travel, you go to different places, you start realizing that, but like, as you're growing up in it, you don't really have like you don't really pay attention to that type of shit until.
And plus, Orlando's fast.
Yeah.
So like that's one thing I will say. Like where I'm from, it's more of like streamlined in the sense of like, okay, you got where you live. Now, if I want to go have like fun, quote unquote, bro, that's a whole nother almost hour. Because I'm in a town, so if I want to go to Fort Myers, that's literally about an hour drive.
Damn.
It's like 40 minutes, maybe 45.
So what'd you go to Full Sail for? Like, what did you...
it was music business.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of already know. Like, that's the reason why I'm so, like, in tune with, like, what certain things need to be done.
Yeah.
Like, album cover. Okay, I need to upload this to X, Y, and Z on platforms. Make sure I get royalties here. Just because you click on it, I'm getting paid in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Whether it's a cent, $1, or more. You clicked on it, I got paid in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just knowing the ins and out of it. And once again, too, I love my control as an artist. I love that I can place this down, make this how I want it. The only thing I have to deal with is my engineer, meaning when we put stuff together, it's a lot of just like back and forth of like, okay, hook, bridge, verse.
Like creative differences type stuff, or?
More like he just gives me good input.
Okay.
Like, okay, I like this here, bring this down, bring this up. And a lot of the times it's just me and him. So I like the fact we have that dynamic.
Right.
You know, we got that yin and yang. And that's Rick B Productions, of course.
Shout out.
Mm-hmm. So that man's been the ones and twos for me behind the scenes, just making sure everything's tweaked.
Nice. And did you know that was what you wanted to do for a while, as far as like going to school for music business, being an artist, kind of, you know, have control of your own career? Like, was that something that you were already like, yeah, this is...
Since I was a kid, like when I was a kid, I used to just, you know, freestyle as a kid. Yeah. And I used to think I was like decent in the sense of like, oh man, it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Then from there, like I did poetry for a long time. And then I even got published when I was 18. So I was a junior in high school. And it was pretty cool. That was like the opportunity that I seen, like, dang, I'm a songwriter technically.
Yeah, like this shit could do, so I could do something with this shit, yeah.
And I've always loved music. Music was like, I've had both parents all my life. Don't get me wrong. That's a blessing. I'm not going to ever take that away from anything. I'm just saying, as for me, music has always been like I guess a third parent.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even
anything I didn't understand or I was like too kiddish to tell my parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I could hear it in this. And like, that's an experience that I was trying to see if that's what it is.
Well, I feel like even in anything, like whether you have the best life growing up or you fucking get it from the mud, like anybody's got to have some type of like outlet or some type of like, you know, some way to decompress outside of, you know,
the escape.
Exactly outside of, you know, your normal or your regular structure, your regular support. Like that's part of finding yourself, that's part of figuring yourself out, like that's part of, you know, that's all of that. So, you know, just having that and, you know, being able to realize that, and especially at a young age, you know, for anybody, but for you in this instance, you know, it kind of sets you up to like, okay, I know what I need to do. Now, how do I get there? For a lot of people, and myself included, like, you know, different people find it out at different times, but you know, the earlier you're able to find out what it is that you want to do, the I don't want to say the quicker it is, but then you have, you know, that much more time to set things up and kind of like understand how things go and immerse yourself in whatever it is, because you know there's learning curves to everything. So
not definitely,
you know, learning it at, like I said, at a young age definitely, you know, puts you at an advantage from a time standpoint for sure.
Yeah, because like I said, when I was in school too, like, you know, when you have class projects and stuff,
yeah, no
matter what, I'm always the one that's breaking down the project, how it all worked out, what's this and what, and I'm directing everything. So I was always used to being outspoken. I've been that way all my life since I was a little kid. My mom always messes with me a lot. She's like, you could have been a lawyer, as much as you like to go back and forth. And that's very true, because like I don't have a problem going back and forth, because a lot of the times it's just, I don't know, it's like picking people's brains, seeing how things work. Why is that considered normal? Why is that not considered, you know, just, or, you know, just a way of doing things? And for me, like in school, I was always known to just be the person that, all right, we already know Dallas is going to be the one to speak. He's already going to be the one to tell everybody how's this going to go. And ever since then, I guess that's why performing to me is more of like, just like normal to me. Yeah. Like it's just preparation. Just remember what you got to say. And if you really like your music, I don't think it's that hard to remember it. Right. You know, a lot of the times I'm not saying like, I'm nervous every single time I perform, because I know how I am. I want the lyrics to hit just right. I want it to sound like it's on the record. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times for me, it's just like, okay, I did that, but I know I'm gonna be hard on myself at the end of it and be like, dang, I could have said that just a little bit different, or like, you know, I could have pronounced that word a little bit harder. But a lot of the times it's just being centered, letting yourself know that, you know, you've already put in the work. Right.
I feel like also too, like back to your point of, you know, just, you know, going back and forth. For me, at least, like sometimes, like I'm not even doing it because I disagree with the person. Like you said, I'm just doing it just to hear somebody else's perspective, just to kind of, like you said, pick their brain a little bit, kind of, you know, see what the thought process is behind. It's not even that I disagree with the person. It's just like, interesting, like why? And then just start asking questions and shit, and start, you know, poking and prodding a little bit.
Like when you do like scenarios and stuff, you really see it. Right. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's what they're gonna do in that instant. Right. Or I'm like,
no, okay. I mean, it's a useful tool. It's a useful skill to have for sure. And it's something like, again, you know, just like most things, some people are born with it a little bit more, some people don't, but it is definitely it's a skill that you can learn. It's something that you can teach yourself to do, and things that you can pick up on and things like that. So, I mean, it kind of seems like you know, like to maybe not control is the right word, but you're particular about how you want your things, your projects, how you want things to turn out, and you have a vision in your head of how it looks. Now, from getting it to your brain out into the world, what do you feel like is the hardest part of that?
Got you. That's a good question. He said, what would be the hardest thing? For me, I work in concepts. So like with this album's called The Bachelor. It's just Bachelor, period. But Bachelor meaning this literally all stemmed from, I had a fiance at one point.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And it sounds crazy because the fiance is already like, I don't know, man. She was something different in my head, but I've not ever experienced something like that. So it was new. Maybe it was just me knowing that this is not normal. So it's like, let me take on the challenge type of thing, just as me as a man. But
how old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, okay. All right, you're not that much younger than me.
Yeah, I'm 29.
It's always funny, like, sorry to cut you off, but it's always funny, like, when I'm talking to people that are around my age and they say they've already been married, divorced, they had the fiance and this, that, whatever. I have not even been close to thinking about marriage. So it's like, oh, shit, like, that's the wild as fuck. Good for you, though.
And that's why I use a bachelor. I respect it wholeheartedly. For me, I was always kind of like, like I said, I come from poetry. So I was used to doing that, like putting my feelings straight ahead on women, like period. Yeah. Even if being vulnerable was looked frowned upon, it always gave me a sense of like, well, at least I'm being honest with me just as much as I'm trying to be honest with you.
Right. So, and that's the one thing that a female is trying to get. Oh, they're lying to me. You ain't shit. You ain't. But it's like, all right, now that I'm telling the truth, like, like you might not like it, but you can't say I'm not shit.
Yeah, and the truth is always going to be more hurtful than being lied to, because I don't know, being disingenuous is just easier for most people.
For sure.
Because with The Bachelor, literally, it's me getting back to where I was beginning before her. So I was thinking like, all right, I'm definitely doing the music thing, but it's also like I would like to share someone with it. And this is the funny part. This is why it's funny. She literally had 5 kids. She had 5.
Damn. And you're like before you?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I don't have no kids, period, by the way. Just
damn, you're gonna take that on, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was gonna take that on.
More power to you. That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking work. Oh shit. Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to put it out there, but like, why did it not end up working out?
Honestly, I mean, I guess you could say I was disingenuous to her at one point. Meaning like, I loved the ride. The ride was great, and she opened my eyes to a lot of things when it comes to just parenthood. Even breaking it down to the nitty and gritty in the bedroom. Like, she literally allowed me to live fantasies in my real time. And for me, that's always had certain relationships, and keep in mind, I've had very few and far between. Like serious relationships, I've maybe had less than 5, if we're being for real. But she was one of the few that was I felt like the most genuine at one point. Just like anything else is before it goes bad. And yeah, man, I was willing to take it on. Things got heated toward the end. She just felt like I wasn't doing enough. And for me, it was a lot for me, of course, because I'm like,
that's a lot of
I'm used to being on my own. I'm used to not caring about nobody. That's a whole
different lifestyle that you're taking on.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. That's different shit. But hey, somebody's got to do it at some point, and whoever comes along and is able to do that, and I feel the same with some of my exes and things like that. Not to that extent. I've never really dated anybody that, or like seriously dated anybody that had kids, but like after the fact, if we break up or it doesn't work, like, hey, listen, like I tried to do what I could. Maybe I just wasn't the one to help you see or help you realize, or maybe we weren't supposed to grow together. Just things kind of, people grow apart, whatever the case may be. And, I'm not really the one that's going to like wish bad on it, especially when you spend so much time with somebody and there's so many intimate moments, and not even just like intimate in the sense of like of sex or anything like that, but like you're with somebody, like that you get vulnerable with somebody, like those type of moments. Like for me, it's hard to not like them or like lose love for them or anything like that. It's more for, like I said, it's just like it just didn't work out. Like we weren't supposed to be together, and I could live with that.
Yeah, and she even said that too. Like at the very end, she was just like, "Oh, maybe this was only supposed to be a summer
Summer
thing."
fling. Yeah.
And even in my head, I'm like,
It hurts hearing that shit, but it's
Yeah.
like, damn, you're probably right, but fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this shit hurts.
And even when we had fights and stuff, like a lot of the times, like my brain is literally telling me, but I'm just like, nah, I'm not listening, because it's just like I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
I'm literally being like that guy. I'm okay with saying that. Like I was in that lustfulness in the sense of like it was just too good to be true, and I was fine with being part of that.
Well, I mean, and that's part of it too, you know, like accepting your delusion in certain things. Because I mean, same, like there's been certain times where, and I'm sure this happens to a ton of people, where, you know, it's so easy to confuse lust with love, and like the heat of the moment with, you know, 5, 10, 15, 30 years down the line, like, is this still gonna be like, you know, people don't really take that into account when, you know, especially in the beginning stages of things are so fucking awesome, they're great, everything's going smooth, we want to do this for each other, do that for each other, but cupcake phase always ends, and that's kind of like when you start realizing it's like, all right, like, you know, is this really gonna be something that is gonna, you know, turn into something worthwhile, or like are people going to start showing their ass and, you know, start kind of reverting back to old habits and things like that, and not really be I guess like not be understanding of like, this is a relationship, like it's a partnership, it's not just like me and you, it's us, like, and it becomes bigger than that after that little, you know, usually for me, I think the cupcake phase usually lasts about like 6 months, give or take. Things like that.
And that's the crazy thing. Like you said, it's about that time. Yeah. So that's what makes it even funnier, bro. Like a lot of it, I like how a lot of those main points are really just like essence of like the continuation of this. 'Cause that's literally about the time frame.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy, man. Like I said, and Bachelor literally is me getting back to that.
Right.
Because music was before her, music's gonna be after her. And for me, I'm gonna tell you right now, for any artist, this is the best cheat code. You always want to make a good project, a full-length project, a consecutive project, something that has consistency and is layered. Time. If you can afford it, time. Live a little bit.
Yeah.
Go places. Have relationships. Try not to make nothing too permanent, but literally get pieces in your life that refresh you, because. Right. Literally, this was a refresher and allowed me to make my first full-length project when it comes to album-wise. Right. And this is album-worthy music to me. So a lot of the times, it was me, like I said, the 'I work in concepts. So it's like, okay, this is literally my journey for these last 3.5 years.
Right. It's easier to do. It's, you know, it's kind of like chapters in your life. The only difference is that you're putting it down on tracks. You're putting it down on, you know, with music and shit like that, which kind of leads me to the next question. Like, how did you... I guess first, like, what, you know, how many songs did you initially make for the project? And if it was more than what was on there, like, how did you narrow it down to the tracks that are going to be on there now?
Gotcha. For me, the album I did about, I want to say 15. It's 15. Keep in mind the other songs are still coming out, of course, but those are going to be more singles, and I like the fact that they can lead into other concept albums. For me, even for this last track that I have on the tape is called Recipe. That one literally I made before me and her ever got together. So that one was nice because it ends on something that I could build on, because that was already a concept that I had for the next album. So that's the beauty of it. A lot of it leads into other things for me, and I don't forget those time periods, because I remember where I was, I remember how I felt, and from there I built from that.
You don't feel like, though, because I know some people struggle with it, like, you know, kind of trying to tap back into a feeling that they had, or like trying to not necessarily relive, but like re-feel these things to then, you know, go back and put it on a song or put lyrics to it. Like, you don't find that difficult at all to...
I find that difficult performing it. Performing it for sure. There's one song that I love. It's called I Gotta. Very depressing, you know, sad, somber song. But it's perfect for people that, you know, that are very down on themselves. You know, might have suicidal thoughts. Not saying I haven't, because we've all been there. At least I have. But like I said, at the end of the song, I say, I gotta. And that's probably the most like turn of events part of the song. And it's so simple. I just say one line, I gotta. I gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how much I feel like it's not enough or I'm down on myself, I gotta figure it out. So for me, tapping back into that, and now I gotta perform that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. When it comes to like performing the songs, for me, like, I mean, it can be, I guess, to a certain part of it. But for me, as long as I have the concept and I already know what I want from it, we're good. Because I already like, okay, this is the main part I want you to feel. This is the opener built from that. So a lot of the times it's just building from it.
Yeah.
Because the song that I have for Told You, and you said how many tracks are on it completely, 11 songs. 11 songs. The first song is called I Told You. And I'm setting you up to let you know I told you. Like, you know, when me and her were together, I mean, me and you are okay. Now I got to build on loving them, figuring out how to truly be not just a man for them, but be a father.
Right.
So now I got to figure out that. So me saying, I told you, it's meaning like I told you if you would have just stuck with me when things weren't the best.
Right.
You know, we could have only elevated from there. Because, you know, like you said it best, that phase is going to phase. But what is really there, what's the staple that's going to keep us solid forever? Or at least keeping going for 10, 20, 30 years.
Right.
So for me, it's just like that. Like I told you is literally me telling you, this is what we could have kept doing. And now this is the turn as it goes through. Right. And you hear the emotions, you hear the layeredness in it. You hear how in the middle I put conclusion. So this is like almost a climax part of the album where it sets up the rest of the songs, and you see where I'm coming with it. And the last song is literally me setting you up for the next one.
Damn,
because it's all a recipe. Yeah. I have a recipe to this. Because like you said it best, how do you get it out from your brain to out? Yeah. And for me, it's a lot like, I'm also good at art. Like literally I did the cover art. And it's supposed to be Power Ranger, and it's like Lois Lane, me saving her. So that whole concept was like, oh, I wanted to do like a cartoon type thing, and like I'm a bachelor, so if I need to, I could save you. Yeah. You know, the concept, it's all a concept. It's me literally saving. Yeah. So I was like, and not saving a hoe, but like saving, you know, what I feel is deemed for it. Yeah. So
hey, but I'm not saying it is in this situation, but sometimes who you feel is deemed for that saving might be a hoe. It be like that sometimes. Yeah. Listen, I'm speaking strictly from experience, dog. Like there's some people that like, you know, you feel, and it's like, again, like at this point, especially I can speak for myself, especially at this point in my life, like you've seen enough people, you've been around enough people, you've interacted with enough people that you can kind of tell like, you know, certain characteristics, whether the red flags or not, whether it's something you should be concerned or not about. and then from there you kind of just, you know, you could justify anything in your head if you want something bad enough.
You're right about that.
You know, sometimes I want that fucking thing bad enough that I can justify. It's like, all right, I see this is, you know, I've seen this before. It's not necessarily, you know, the best characteristic. I kind of see how it goes, but fuck it, let me give it a try. Maybe, you know, maybe I'm the one that's gonna fucking knock her out of this bad habit, which 10 times out of 10, no, like that person has got to knock themselves out of that bad habit. And you can kind of be a catalyst to it, but like, you know, I said this, you know, I can want something for somebody so bad, but if they don't want it for themselves, it doesn't matter how bad I want that shit.
Very true. Very true. And I've told people that before, like in the same concept, like, you know, people believe that delusion every day.
Yep.
And that's why they, you know, where they are. Yeah. And a lot of the times it's, you know, it's going to be, not proactive. So I don't know. For me, it's more so of, like you said it best, at the showcase when you said most people don't know themselves.
Right.
And for me, it's like, but I know what I want. And I've always felt this way, at least when it comes to music since I was a kid. Yeah. Like music's always spoke to me in a different way that I just don't express or feel from others.
Yeah. I mean, that's the start though. I mean, knowing what you want kind of is part of knowing yourself, because, you know, that's stemming from you. It's stemming from, you know, what's coming from inside of you, how you want the outside to look, how you want the outside to feel and things like that. It's coming from what you're feeling inside and shit. So, I mean, that's part of it, but
like your own creation.
Right. And I mean, I'm a firm believer, you know, what you feel, you know, what you're projecting out into the world and what you're feeling is going to be a reflection, you know, or what you feel, what you see outside is a reflection of how you feel inside, essentially. So, you know, a lot of people that I know that are that are happy, that are genuine, that do good by people is usually because that's how they feel inside. They want to help people out. They want to do this. They want to do that. People that I see that are miserable usually are projecting that because they have something within themselves that is unresolved, or they don't want to try and conquer it or attack it or figure out what the issue is, and they're just living in it and stewing in it. And eventually, like, you can put that mask on and you can try and front for as long as you want, but eventually that energy, that aura is gonna fucking vibrate off of you. It's gonna come out, and people can pick up on that shit, whether they're blatant, like obviously seeing it, or whether it's just like, oh, I don't know what was wrong with this person, but there was just something off about them and shit like that. And that energy, that aura, that shit's real. Like,
you're right.
People don't, when you're in it and you're the one feeling it and you're the one going through it, it's kind of hard to remove yourself and kind of see what you're contributing to the issue until you get out of that phase or that slump or whatever. Then you're able to look back and like, that was the issue. Like, I was fucking up there. Like, my bad, whatever. And then but
self-reflection is definitely a big key of it, for sure. And everything in darkness must come to light.
Facts.
So when it's in your face and you see it, it's just like experiencing. I know it's kind of funny, but it's kind of shrooms. A lot of people take that, and I always tell people too, I'm like, if you're gonna take that, you better know yourself a lot more than you want to.
Any type of psychedelics, if not, it's gonna force you to.
The self-reflection is right there.
Yeah, no, and I'm a big advocate for them. I do think they're helpful. I do agree. Like, you kind of need to be in the mindset of like either just being very open or accepting, or understanding that like, hey, I need to figure some shit out, and might be a little rough, but like, kind of go in with that mindset. But to me, like, there's that fine line with it, because if you're thinking too much, then that's how you go into a bad trip. Yep. But if you let go, if you're letting go too much, kind of the same thing. Like, for me, I feel like there has to be that balance of like understanding, like, all right, here we go. Like, but like also being aware enough that you can kind of rear yourself back in a little bit, and kind of like, if you feel yourself going too much into one thing, unless you need to, some people need to go all the way into something to really figure some shit out, and that
rabbit hole,
right? But for me, at least, like in my experiences, is like, it's good the letting go, and I've always been good with that. But the parts where you need to kind of rear yourself in a little bit and kind of like hone it in a little bit, I feel like that's where it helped me at least. And also, it's fun as fuck, taking a little trip. That's just, it is fun. I can't even deny that. I can't lie about that.
Had my fair share of both ways. Having like the Joker feeling. Bro, I remember the first time I ever had it, I was like, man, I feel like the Joker. Like, I feel sinister. I feel like I'm ready just to like,
fuck some shit up.
Yeah, ready to create chaos. And then other times I'm just like, I feel like I'm freaking 12 playing on my game, trying to figure out how to beat this level. And I'm like, that nostalgia is like, I'm right there.
Right.
So, I mean, like you said it best. It's just a lot of people need to write it down. Like, under self-reflect in that way. Because even I know, I'm like, I could have did this better. Oh, at that time, I was really too arrogant for X, Y, and Z to be an opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. I was still too self-indulged of like, well, they don't see it at all. I'm super young. They're going to type of mindset, instead of layering it and, like you said it best, building it up, and then finally allowing it to be expressed in a way where everybody cannot just see it for what I seen it for, but now they can take something from it too.
Right. Was there like a certain moment where you started realizing like, living these experiences and going out and doing things and living your life was like really a catalyst for making your music?
First and foremost, that's the cheat code to me. And I didn't get that from me. I got that from Danny Brown. Danny Brown, he's a Detroit artist. Very big in the underground scene. Literally,
I've heard his name a couple times. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, his biggest tape was Triple X. But him first and foremost, he dropped an album, I want to say about 2013, around there. And in there, one of his interviews, he literally said that. He said, why did it take so long for you to make the next one? He said, I needed to live life, man. I needed to have something else to talk about.
Right.
And a lot of the times is, you also said this pretty good too, at the showcase. You literally said, the SoundCloud era. There's a lot of emptiness. And I agree. It was just, for me, I was like, damn, there's a lot of good artists that came out of SoundCloud.
Well, I mean,
but I get it.
Both of those things can be true at the same time. You could have a good art, because like even guys like Lil Uzi Vert, I mean, Young Thug was a little bit before it. I mean, and Future was too, but guys like that, I'm not necessarily the biggest fans of them and how they, I guess, most of their music, but there's times where Lil Uzi Vert's in his bag. He's just fucking spitting bars, like getting on the fucking track and flowing and doing his thing. And I go through my library, I got some Lil Uzi Vert songs. If you go through my library, I got Young Thug songs. Like, so like I can respect and appreciate the artistry of something, but it not necessarily be for me. And that doesn't mean that they're not talented or that they can't do something or whatever, but that's just what they're showing off. Like, who just did it recently? Fucking Designer. He came out with a new flow, which, his old shit was fucking and like barely fucking
triplets.
Yeah, you can't fucking understand what the fuck he's saying, but he just dropped this new freestyle and he's over here just like, fuck it, I'm done with the gimmicks, I'm done with all this other shit. I'm just putting out straight bars, and that shit was that shit was nice. And it's not like I'm not a Designer fan. Like, I'm not gonna be like,
no, I got you.
But like that shit was nice as fuck. So it's like I'll give credit where it's due, but I'm also gonna, if I don't fuck with it, I'm like, well, this shit's just not really that good. And the thing about music is that, what's not good to me is fucking the best shit to somebody else. So like, it's really, really up for interpretation and for how it hits different people. Because with a lot of those guys, like, especially, Future, Young Thug, two guys that I've been kind of critical of as far as like the style and shit like that, I'm in the minority in there. Because a lot of people, will put them as, especially Future as one of the goats of trap music and things like that. Young Thug, the way that he was, that his ad libs, and when he was first coming out with Rich Gang, like a lot of people the artistry part of it was like, that they put him to the forefront of that shit.
For me, I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Growing up, definitely not a Future fan. Now I can respect him only because a lot of it has to do with his songwriting. Yeah. So, and then to your point on the Designer thing, not saying it wasn't hot. I think the track is really fire. For me, I always think in my head, since I write music, you know what I mean? And I take that very seriously. Yeah. Did you write it? Song can be hot, but that's where me as an artist, I'm not about to play with you, because I don't play with myself in that regard. If I'm writing it and I make good music in my head, and like I said, I'm telling you, I feel like I make really good music, and I'm a songwriter, so it's like, if I can do that, you can be a face, but that's what you are to me. Yeah. You're not gonna ever be a full artist to me, because it's just like you said it best. If you have that time, you got something to talk about. Yeah. Now, if you're already a part of the machine and you are there, of course you're gonna have writers. I get it. You're the face. That's fine. But for me, it's like the authenticity is so strong. It's like day and night for me. I can see it. Like, it's cool. People can believe you. I'm not going to.
So, and I know this is probably going to be a very basic ass question, but how do you feel about Drake then?
He's great for what the industry needs him to be, not what artists need.
Interesting. Because I feel like especially with this last the recent lawsuit and all that stuff, it seems like he's kind of like anti-industry in a sense, and like he's kind of, to me it seems like he's sticking up more for the independent artist than a lot of guys are at his caliber, at his stature.
For me, it's like this: the disses was cool until I realized they're both on the same label. Sounds like industry again. Yeah, well, yeah, no, that whole beef, I thought it was fun, but I definitely was like, one, like they're just spitting allegations at each other. Like none of this was concrete. Not like, there was no repercussions from this. Beating his wife.
Yeah, like I don't
remember her saying nothing about it.
Yeah, so like a lot of it was just allegations and nothing stuck. So it kind of it was fun, but like it kind of lost its, I don't know, like I guess its value, I guess, in a sense, when it's like, all right, well,
we got great music out of it. Like I said, Drake is still great, regardless of what I say. I'm just saying, when it comes to someone that solely writes his stuff, it's just not the same. Right. Because I'm the one figuring this out. Yeah. You are just the person that can put it together. And if you're like me, I already know how to flow in pockets.
Yeah.
So give me some lines, there you go. It's just the way I look at it. And this would have been dope. Okay, the two biggest labels is Sony and UMG.
Yeah.
I believe they're both signed to UMG. So like I said, they're both allowing them to make money with that same powerhouse.
Right.
You know what would have been fly? If Kendrick was on Sony, now it's the industry sides both really going at it. So now it's not just artists. It's literally the same people that are pushing them going at it. Right. Now it's something.
That's a real beef. Yeah.
You see? That's why I'm just saying that. Because industry, I always see it. It's just like, it's for me, I'm like I said, I get it. People are people. They're going to feed it, eat it. Fine. Yeah. I'm not going to. So when I talk about it, I'm the outcast looking in. But it's fine.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, there's space for that, especially nowadays. There's space for everyone. There's an audience for everyone. There's something for everyone. So, it does get, once you get, I mean, just with anything, you start having to play politics and shit like that. And,
I didn't know about that, though, what you said about the Drake thing, though. You opened my eyes on that one. When you said that he's the one pushing more independent artists.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Well, I mean, with the lawsuit and stuff, because I've talked about it before on the podcast a couple of times, but the big labels, I mean, they've done it with Mariah Carey, they did it with Michael Jackson. They kind of have a tendency, once you start getting to that level, and you're meeting your advance, 2-3 months after they gave it to you, people start wanting to get paid what they're worth and things like that. So they'll start, throwing things out there, putting rumors out there to devalue you. So then when it comes time to contract talks, it's like, oh, well, for A and B reasons, streaming numbers went down, so you're not worth what you think you are. This is what you're actually worth. So I mean, it's corporate shit. It's politics. It happens in any line of business,
any form of entertainment.
I mean, it happens in sports as well. People. Once it comes time to negotiate contract and numbers and things like that, people. The person who's paying out the money is going to look for every reason to save $1. The person who's trying to get paid is going to is looking at to get every dollar that they deserve, or they feel like they do. Yeah. So I mean, that's where the conflict is always going to be, and that's essentially what Drake was suing UMG for, is that, well, y'all were pushing Kendrick stuff and inflating his numbers to devalue me because my contract's about to come up and I'm asking for $500 million, and say what you want about him, but
you'll probably get it back.
He deserves that shit. The way that he's running the rap game, and it seems like he's doing it as like just for fun at this point, because rap isn't really necessarily like, he's transcended rap. He's gone beyond that. He's a global artist now. He's a global superstar. So like, it seems like, and the rap game is still very much like dictated on when is Drake gonna drop, things like that and all that. So I think, once you do that I was actually talking to my boy Jordan about it the other day. It's like, when you do it for 2-3 years, everyone's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, it's real great. People want to help you out and shit like that, because most superstar artists, you can look at Nelly, 50 Cent, a lot of these guys that like they go, it's really like a 3-year run that they have, like shelf life, as far as like being the top guy. And then the next crop of artists are going to come and then they'll have their top guy. Well, Drake's in year fucking 15, still running and he's, it's unprecedented what he's doing as far as like staying on top, staying relevant, doing numbers and things like that. And, he's taking up a lot of real estate. And then once you start doing that, the business guys, the vets in the game, the people, they start getting uneasy because, part of it is just rich people, just wanting to stay rich and get richer and stuff like that. So when you have a guy like that come in and kind of, take up space and things like that, people they get uncomfortable and shit like that. And it's like, oh fuck, well now it's, kind of stepping into my territory a little bit and things like that. So it's
a dicey game for sure,
to say the least, to say the fucking least. But
I mean, like I said, for music, it's like I said, for me, quality music, everyone says it is subjective, and I'll let that slide for the most part, because fine, whatever. I have certain artists that are not like, the most, like I said, I said this too at the podcast, the show, I don't need you to be lyrical, spiritual, just make good songs.
Right.
And then this is the second part to it. From me, my standpoint, it's also like, did you write it? Because now we're talking real levels.
Yeah.
Because like I said, for me, numbers are fine, but numbers are always fabricated.
For sure.
No matter what. The only time, in my opinion, numbers really matter is if you're owning like a business itself or sports.
Yeah.
Because if I give you 20 shots, now you have 30 minutes to play a game. Whatever you do with those opportunities is on you. That's documented.
Right.
You know what I mean? Numbers can always be fabricated.
Yeah, it can be inflated, especially streaming numbers and shit like that.
You could be
like,
always just likable, and then now you can make a song just because you're so likable.
And especially nowadays too, and I fuck with Travis Scott, but he's guilty of doing this. That he'll use like merch sales and add that to his streaming, like it counts as streaming numbers and things like that, which that's
bundles.
Like it's part of the game. So like do what you got to do, but again, to your point, it inflates the numbers. It's not purely people streaming your music. Now you're adding shirts or the bundles or this or that, so it's kind of it gets, like you said, it gets a little.
This ain't Master P, selling 1 million records, but he sold them physically,
right?
You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can still do that. That's still great. Like that's, that's something to say that you have, what I'm saying? Like I said, that's part of the leverage. It's just, for me, I take writing it very seriously and strictly in hip hop. I know that's, a lot of people do say this too. It's like, oh, country, you don't have to write it. Pop music, you don't have to. I get that too. But a lot of the times, if you're an artist that solely writes it, that's where the level game is. Now you're cutting it short for yourself.
Right.
Because you can be a superstar. I could be, a songwriter for days. But the fact is that I'm writing these hits or just making good music out of these songs. It's now you're at my level.
Right.
Because you're not writing everything.
Right. And I mean, you can, and it can either help you or hurt you, because the songwriter, if you're just the face, that's all great. But, you're kind of more reliant on a good songwriter. And you're more reliant on somebody who's going to give you hits. The songwriter, if they're continually put out hits, they can go to any artist and have more options. But like, hey, like, I got this hit for you. Like, I know, it might not do the same as if Taylor Swift was singing it, but like, like we're at a point now in music that we know there's a formula to make a hit song. There's a formula, to sonically, to melody, to fucking the lyrics, all that shit. There is a formula.
Basic keys.
Yeah, there's a formula to it. So if you're really able to hone that in as a songwriter, it kind of feels like you're at a little bit more of an advantage, because you can take that with you and go make your money and do that, and not necessarily have to be relying off, where as the face, you kind of, you get the accolades, you get the fame, you get all this, but then you need a good team behind you, and you need to keep the right people behind you, because then if not, then it can start crumbling down a lot easier. Speaking, kind of you've been harping a lot on the, how important writing is to you, especially in hip hop and things like that. Who are some of your favorite artists? Whether it could be like right now, today, all time, inspiration, things like that, that kind of like, I guess drive home that mindset of, the writing aspect.
If we're talking like song, well, if we're just talking about, I'll say artists, I'm going to say artists that influence like music for me. For me, off the top of my head, Marvin Gaye, for sure.
All right.
Marvin Gaye is amazing. Like I said, great artist, died broke. And if we want to keep it a buck, as much as people love Michael Jackson, a lot of people don't know he died broke. But like I said, it's the facade, it's the face value. As much as he's done, you know what I'm saying? That man just now is recuperating all that money that he was in debt for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and like I said, he was the number one artist that has passed away. I think he made, $100 million. And that's dope. Like I said, his music still has staying power. But for me, honestly, if we're talking like artists, I would say Schoolboy Q. Schoolboy Q's amazing. His last album was amazing. Those two off the rip. Now, if we're talking style, a little bit of flows and patterns and like that, A$AP Rocky.
I wish he would put out more music.
A$AP Rocky's dope.
I wish he would put out. I love him. I think he's great, but I wish he would put out music at a little bit more consistent rate. But I mean, when you're him in fashion, your baby mama's Rihanna, like you don't I feel like at this point rap is kind of like
Once again, just like my situation, if I would have stayed on that path, I don't know how much music I'd been releasing. So you see, it's just like priorities.
Right.
And I would say Kanye, if we're talking about just the creativity aspect.
Right.
I know he doesn't write everything. That's fine. But I'm just saying in the
Well,
sense
I mean,
of like
on
how he puts everything together. I love how he just puts it together.
Right. And because to me, he's the greatest artist of all time. And in the sense of like just everything that encompasses it, like you said, it's well known. He doesn't write. He writes, but he doesn't write. He's even been on record of saying, which is funny because we were just talking about if he could get Drake to write every one of his songs, he would get that shit in a heartbeat. So it's like it's funny, but like the production aspect of it, and again like the creativity and like for me at least, like what I judge those type of things on as far as like all time great artists is how much of a hand do you have in your own music. Mm-hmm. So guys again like Kanye West, and taking it out of rap and hip hop, a guy like Freddie Mercury, things like, guys like that are like, the production, they do right. They're involved in every aspect of it. And for me, like, I'm a big fan of producers, production. That's always been my favorite thing as far as music. And that's why I like rap so much because there is so much, just taking from the samples, chopping, cutting things up, like the
using people's voices as
right,
instruments.
exactly, all those things that you don't realize how difficult those things are to do until like you start actually like just diving into it and shit, trying to do it yourself. It's like
it all together.
It's like, oh damn, like that is not easy. Like that shit is tough, and he's just. Just putting out songs like classic beats, just like it's fucking like it's nothing. So like for me,
for me, Hell of a Life, like that's a perfect instrumentation of like how layered it is. The bridge work at the very end, the little gunshot sounds, just to make it sound more like vibrant.
He's again, say what you want about Kanye, whatever. He says a lot of crazy shit, but.
He's been in the industry long enough to know why.
Right.
Like, why is it the way he... Like, that's another thing, too. A lot of people forget. He's been in here so long, he's just tired of the games.
Right.
But, you signed up for it. It's just some people can't self-reflect that hard because they know.
But I also think, too, like... I mean, guys like Kanye, a little bit more extreme. Guys like R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Bill Cosby, you can look at it through any type of field, like
of entertainment.
Just because you do something that's shitty doesn't take away from the artistry and from how good you are. Like
people
R. Kelly,
separated all the time.
R. Kelly, it turns out he wasn't that great of a guy, but could that motherfucker sing? And he could and he was like, his voice is. The talent is undeniable, but he was pissing on little kids. So like you got to take that here. But again, that doesn't take away from him being a great artist. Yeah. P. Diddy, he was doing whatever he was doing, having his freak offs, whatever, but that doesn't take away from the businessman, the producer, how he was able to get, artists together and things like that. Like you got to be able to separate some of those things sometimes. And a lot of people will not, they'll just take everything as its whole, and that just defines you as that. And it's like, well, no, like I was talking to somebody about this a couple months ago. It's like, they're trying to like, well, I guess it was essentially a conversation of like, who am I? Like, how do I define myself? And a lot of people, I feel like even, to themselves, try to put themselves in a box and like use like one word or one defining moment when it's like, no, you're like a culmination of all those things. Like that's who you are. Like everything that you've done up into your life, up until this point, that's who you are. You're not just one singular thing. And I feel like people do that to themselves and in turn will do that to other people and judge other people that way, which, whether that's a good or bad thing, whether that's right or wrong, that's a whole different conversation. But it does, I feel like it does a disservice because nobody is just one thing. Nobody is just this. Nobody is just a singer. Nobody is just a construction worker. Nobody is just, you are everything that you have done up until that point in your life. Now there's certain things that might, you might have put a little bit more time into and you kind of use as a little bit more of, kind of defining yourself or as an identity. But, at some point you take that hat off and put another hat on. Whether you're a dad, whether you're a son, whether you're a brother, again, a construction worker, a rapper, a podcaster, whatever the fuck it is. But I'm like, for me, I'm not a podcaster 24/7.
I got you.
Like after I'm done with this, I'm gonna go hit the gym.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, after that, there's other things that you do. So it's like all those come together to make who you are. It's like people, again, most people I feel like judge themselves in that very narrow scope. So only like it's natural that you're gonna do that to everybody else.
Yeah,
but.
No, I definitely agree. I get exactly what you're saying because you are more than just one thing. Like just like when they be saying, oh, they be bashing them and they be like, this is still a person type of thing.
Right.
And like I said, I believe that wholeheartedly. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes to like, I try my best to.
Well, some people deserve what they have coming to them sometimes.
Yeah, for me, it's just like being a good person is more than just. Like you said, it's more than just a reputation of who you are. It's a reflection of what you want to see in the world. I want to change the world in that regard. Like music is an outlet for that, but how I represent myself is how I want other people to see themselves. So if I feel like, this is a calling for me, I would like you to say, dang, what is a calling for me? How can I better myself in that regard? Music is just the outlet that really expresses what I want the world to be a reflection of.
That is, that's real as fuck too. That is real as fuck because, people want to do certain things or change certain things, but like don't really know where to start or like just aren't willing to do something about it and just kind of want something to happen and will cross their fingers. And that's all good and great, but like you got to put some work into it too. Like you can't just,
work without faith is not just in that regard. Meaning, belief is one aspect. Now applying it because you are in the physical, because it's really a spiritual warfare, but you still live in the physical.
Right. We're still here. We still got to wake up and go do some shit. Right.
You got to use the momentum of your mind, body, and soul and encompass all that to create that moving forward. So definitely agree.
Word. Is music really like the only outlet that or is that your primary outlet? Or is there other things that you do as far as like, trying to, like you said, trying to make this world how you see fit or, trying to put out that energy into the world?
For me, it's also like literally every now and then, like it's always good to give back, For me, though, a lot of it is like fundraising. I definitely respect, what Simba's doing out here in Orlando.
Who's that?
Simba is the lady that's also been Exodus for the actual, she has her own nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she works with kids, nonprofit. She helps the community. I think she even has something going on this month for Toy Drive, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know because shout out to Jay from Inspired Podcast. I think she was telling me something about that too. Like it's like I like Blue Martini or something like that, or like there's some type of. She was telling. I know there's. It's it's that time of year.
I don't know more of the forms right now. But I definitely get you.
I know there's it's that time of year. It's holiday season, so there's all different types of toy drives and shit like that. But if I'm pretty sure that's the one she was talking about, but she's also going to do her own toy drive and shit like that. But I feel. I just did my first volunteer work, like, I want to say in the beginning of this year, like did a food drive. Oh, no, it was actually around this time last year. Went and did a food drive, to Thanksgiving time to, families that were, a little bit, more in need and things like that. And it really does, like, again, I haven't done it since, so I'm not over here like I'm not like a philanthropist or like I'm not super into it like that. But like it does give you perspective and it does kind of it's a good feeling. It's a keeps
you grounded,
right?
Because no matter how high I get, I'm literally here to help bring real change. If you give me the outlet and you give me the platform, I'm gladly gonna create anarchy in that regard of like. We want to say that we want to do good. Well, I'm going to have to push it to the forefront because, when I look at it like this, I've been done dirty in the music industry, you know what I mean? But that doesn't change my outlet to be a scammer,
right?
To be, just a straight up like dick for lack of a better word, because I truly believe I'm not going to do what you did to me just to feel better about something that may never make me feel better about it at all. Right. And God can do way more to you than I ever could.
Right. That shit never made sense to me either. Like when people are like, for example, like I played football growing up. Well, really just in high school, but so my freshman year, You know, I'm a freshman team, and this is my first year actually playing like organized football. And you know, there's always going to be like some type of hazing and things like that, which no, whatever, that's part of it. But my logic, my thought process behind it, when I'm a senior now. Now I'm the starter. I'm the leader. It's like, well, I didn't like that shit when that shit happened to me. So like, I'm not gonna do that to you. Now, like, if there's something, somebody steps out of line or something needs to, you handle things certain in a different way. But I'm not just gonna do shit just because like, oh, well, it was done to me, so now I gotta do it to you. Like, it's like.
Yeah,
no, and like, what the fuck?
It shows how mature like you're lacking too.
Right, and it's like I never understand, but you see examples of that in the real world. Like that was just a small example. Like you see that shit in real time playing out. Like, oh, I don't like that this happened to this group of people. Or I don't like that this happened to this person. So now I'm gonna show them how it feels and shit like that. I'm like, what? Like, how does that like that? Like the whole fighting fire with fire thing, I never really understood. Like, what? I don't want to say I didn't understand it. I just don't really agree with it because I think there is a small percentage where something good can come out of it. But I feel 9 times out of 10, like it's just a vicious cycle and you're just creating more bullshit because, oh, well, this person did this and now I'm going to do it to them. But then like that person's going to have that same feeling towards you. So then they're going to take that out on somebody else and it's just going to be a vicious cycle instead of like, and I know it sounds cheesy and cliche as fuck, but being the bigger person and like just letting shit roll off your shoulder. And that's something that I had to learn, that my favorite quote is that people aren't against you, they're for themselves. I might not be the reason that this person is mad, but I might be in the way at that moment, or I might fit the mold at that moment, and they might take their anger out on me. And I have really 2 ways that I could react to it. I could, feed that energy back to them and motherfuck them and fuck you and all this other shit. I'll just be like, all right, like that was kind of fucked up, but you're probably going through something, and it's probably not me. It's probably not a me thing.
A lot of times too, if you psychoanalyze them, that's where now it gets even more like, that elevation is far more than just a fuck you.
Yeah.
Because if I show you who you really are and tell you who you are, now it's fun. That's where I get into it with people. I love showing people it's one thing to be who you are. It's another thing who you actually are.
Right.
So for me, that's why I'm hard on a lot of people. Now keep in mind, it's not like I'm not saying like regular average Joe people. Like if you're a Drake, if you're in those levels, you're there for a reason. Ridicule is part of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's normal for them. So, even if I do say something, the only thing that should make you angry is if it's true.
Right. And that's usually what, like you said, that's usually what sets people off. Like, and that's something, I'm pretty honest with myself. I like to think I am, I do all the, the reflecting, I'll sit down and be by myself and be with my own thoughts and things like that. So that's why a lot of things don't bother me. That's like when people talk shit or do this or say that about me or whatever, it's like, all right, that's cool. Like, even if it is true, I already know it. So like, I'm already working on it. Like, I'm already like, thanks for the reassurance. I was right about my shortcomings or whatever, but sure. So, I think that's part of it though. It's just like, again, the better you know yourself or the more that you're willing to know yourself, the less that other people are saying about you is going to affect you because you already know it. You're already ahead of it. So like, how can some fucking random dude off the street say something that is going to set me off if I already know what's good? Like, I already know, like, yeah, you're right. Like, I do need to work on that. Or it's like, oh, you're just trying to say that to piss me off. Which either way, like, you're not, when you're not willing to give that reaction to people, you'll see what type of person they are. They'll either be like, oh, damn, my bad. Like, I was just in a bad mood. Or they'll start fucking, throwing temper tantrum, fucking, like you said, kind of going a little bit more hard and trying to, but, people are going to show you who they are. In those type of instances and things like that. And just like,
time will definitely be the essence of that. Or like you said, it might just be right straight to the point.
Right.
But it's always something that led to that. And usually it's that self-reflection part.
Yeah.
It's when now it gets real. And like you said too, the beef was cool because there really wasn't nothing to hold.
Right.
So a lot of the times it's like the ones that, you notice how when the beefs that really hit are the ones that really, certain people get hurt, certain things like that.
Right.
Because now certain things are truths. And those have to be met for most people.
That fucking, and I don't really keep up with it that much, but the NLE Choppa and NBA YoungBoy that Chaba's put out like 2 fucking diss tracks against him. And I mean, I don't really keep up with the younger artists like that or the newer generation, but from what I've seen from YoungBoy, like he's not really the one that, you know, they'll spit bars, but you know, he's really about that shit. So it kind of, you know, it's stuff like that. It's kind of like, all right, like it's fun, it's cool until, you know, you really get somebody who like the King Von stuff, you know, guys like that it's like, all right, it's cool and fun, you know, talking shit, doing all this, but then, you know, when you get guys that are really about that life and from that life, you know, there's only so far that words are going to go until it starts, you know, pouring into, you know, all right, bet when I see you, it's on site.
The reflection of words have power, kind of, you know, like you said, it basically is going to propel the next situation. And you, like you said, you got to live with the outcome.
Facts.
But at least I always say it best like this. For me, it's like, just, if you're going, everyone dies, but what do you die for? And that's just for me. I really want to make change in that regard of like, with me, like I said, I'm a Christian person, but I definitely do believe that, you know, we're all human. We do make mistakes. I get that. But I don't make them purposely just to say I'm like you. And I feel like a lot of people make mistakes and then now they're them.
Yeah.
That's why I go so hard at people, because a lot of the times I'm trying my best to not make those mistakes. And I don't want to keep them. And you could say that's a form of fear, living in fear. That's fine, whatever. That doesn't bother me. It makes me feel better about me, because that's a certain level of discipline. You've seen it. I've seen it. My parents tell me about it. That doesn't mean I have to act like, you know, it can't happen to me, because it can always happen to me.
Right.
But like I said, my problem is, like I said, I'm just a little bit self-centered in that way, that, you know, I kind of poke the finger, and, you know, that's not right. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying it at all. I'm saying that is one of my bad traits. Yeah. We all have them. That's mine. I'm a bit of an egotistical asshole in that regard. And I'll take that. That's fine. I mean, that's the worst thing you have on me? Fine.
Right. Right. It's like, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. I'm not out here trying to, like I said, you know, tell you I'm going to help you with this, fuck you over, go on to the next, and then I'm living my life like that. Like, and the sad truth is, a lot of people are not necessarily going to respect you for that, but a lot of people are going to gravitate toward you in that regard. Because a lot of your favorite artists are pieces of shit. But, like you said it best, a lot of people can define, you know, but they make great music, or, you know, I can separate the two. And a lot of the things for me, it's like, I feel like a lot of artists back in the day were not like that. They had their shit, but I don't think it was excessive. Not in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think
it was a lot of like self-reflection with drugs, but not like undoing to others. It wasn't like that to me. At least not to me.
I mean, I think with that, I think social media and just, you know, the overexposure of everything has kind of
very well true.
I feel like accentuated that a little bit. I don't think there's a lot worse shit going on in the world than there was 20 years ago. I just think it's a lot more accessible, and you can see it a lot more now. But I don't think violence and racism and all these things have ramped up in the last 5 years or in the last 10 years. I just think now you can go on your phone and you can see it. We got 24-hour news cycles, so there's just constantly something. You know, before, you know, you would have to wait until the morning, read the paper, or you know, the news comes on. The news comes on at 6, and you get your information. And then once that was gone, you know, TV's off. You know, you get away from it. Shit.
You know, that was like, you know, okay, that's the weekly thing. Yeah, you know, type of thing.
But now it's, you know, the minute something happens, you get a notification on your phone. The minute something happens, the second, whether it's news, whether it's political, whether it's sports, whether it's music, like, so you don't really get a break from it. So you don't really get a chance to register any of it and digest it and sit on it. Like, it's just one thing after the other. So you don't, you know, it just seems like everything is just out of control, all these other things. And not to say that, you know, some of the, you know, yeah, things might be a little bit more because of a little bit more crazy, or a little bit more because of the connectivity and how easy it is to communicate. But I don't think it's like so much worse than it was 20 years ago. It's like, you know, relatively speaking, all things considered, like, if you look throughout history, this is probably one of the better times to be alive. It's just with technology, with medicine, with access to things, with this podcast. Like before, I would have to go to school, get my degree, go to a radio station, get my 10,000 hours in of time, and there was so much more of a process. Now I got a camera, got some mics, got an interface. I got an extra room in my crib.
What's separating me now?
Right. Let's run this, and I'll figure out the rest from there. But I don't need the middleman. I don't need to go to school. I don't need to put myself in debt. The same thing with music. Before you needed a record label, you need the distributor, you need this, you need a manager. Now you could be all that yourself. You could be your own manager. You could set up your own distribution stuff. You could talk to venues, set up shows, things like that, and you can be do things all in house. Now, not to say that there isn't still, space and there isn't still necessity for managers or for distribution companies or for labels and things like that. But it kind of levels the playing field a little bit to where you're not so dependent on the machine to get you to where you got to go. So, I mean, again, just with everything else, there's good and bad, but I don't overreact to a lot of things either. I'll see something, I'll read it, I'll listen to it, whatever, and I'm like, all right, well, this is my initial thought, but let's see how, in a day, in a week, in a month from now, how more details come out, or how I feel, or whatever the case may be to whatever situation it is. But I just feel like just with everything being in your face, people are so reactionary to everything, and they're just this is it, this is law, and it's like, oh damn, like chill out a little bit, like pump the brakes, like like the world is not ending right now. It has not stopped spinning. The sun is gonna come up tomorrow. Like it's all good. Like take a deep breath. It will be all right. Like
no, very true. Like you said, definitely it's streamlined, but that's what I was saying too. Like a lot of it, like you said, people are willing to just be fed.
Right.
A lot of the times they don't take a break and just realize that I can make my own.
Right.
Just like you said, with the just putting the setup, putting it together, a lot of it's at your disposable.
Right. People are just. I feel like people have become more codependent. I think that's one thing that I do feel like has changed pretty drastically within the last 20, 25 years. Is just that the convenience of things and the just codependent on well, this service is going to be there, or this person's going to be there, or that's going to be there, and not really being as self-sufficient as you could. Because again, like I don't have to go and hunt my food. There's fucking grocery stores on every corner. There's fast food, there's restaurants, there's this or that. So like just the amount of people that I know that can't even really cook chicken by themselves, like make themselves a little dinner at home. It's like, damn, like that's some, like I'm not a chef by any stretch of the means, but like I can make myself a good enough little dinner that it's like, there's times where I do want to go out and eat, but like I can make myself a dinner at home and be completely satisfied with that and be okay. Like, again, like I'm not going out and hunting the chicken or anything like that, but like I can still cook that shit, season it up, make my little sides and things like that. But the amount of people that struggle with that now, I'm just like, damn, like that's just not even hard.
No,
like,
you're right.
And that shit it's those type of things that it's like, it's great, and it's again, convenience is a wonderful thing. I think but again, just too much of anything is bad. Too much convenience, too much sleep, too much food, too much this, too much that is, or too little of it. It has its negatives to it.
Yeah.
And
no,
that's where we're at right now, and maybe people will hear this and maybe try and learn a fucking chicken recipe. I don't fucking know, but
facts. Yeah, for real, try something they haven't tried in a while.
Right, shit.
But that's the whole point of this. It's to inspire. Like at the end of the day, I'm here to inspire too. Nipsey Hussle is one of my favorite, like not just artists, but just like what he represents. Like represents everything I feel like is necessary. And he, like you said, I'm a very judgmental person, and I get it. He was a gangbanger. He was, in the streets. He did a lot of stuff he wasn't proud of at a young age.
Yeah.
And and he's one of my favorite artists. And in that regard, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can still be like, all right, there's room to grow. You can show improvement.
Right.
But it's also like at that in levels, in the sense of, when you got to that level, are you propelling at that point? A lot of people get to the level, but they're already like just idiotic. They're young, so they're still self-destructive in a way.
Yeah.
And that's a big reflection on the masses, because those kids look at them instead of like someone that's already at the forefoot. They kind of put in that work,
right?
And then now they're at the highest peak, and now they can truly, really inspire,
right?
Where it's like you give this person 19, gave him the world, and he doesn't, you know,
you can barely wipe her ass. Yeah, you can barely wipe her ass at that point. You got fucking $50 million.
Yeah,
it's
and you're
like,
gonna
what
tell
the fuck
him
do you
to
expect?
act this way, act that way.
Right.
You're gonna give $50 million to a 19-year-old who tells you, "Motherfucker, I did it before you, and faster."
Right,
you know. And it's I just feel like we're setting the next generation up to feel like everything is, you know, a learning curve, which is true. I mean, we are human. I'm just saying in the sense of when they're prominent, I would like them to be already at a certain level of mind state to get you and others to move accordingly, where it's not like crab in a bucket mentality, where it's like, oh yeah, I have this and fuck you.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's that, instead of like, now we can propel each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, you know, look at every fucking, well, not every, but most child celebrities, how they turn out by the time they're 23. They've lived the whole fucking life 2 times over, and they look fucking ran through all this other shit. But I mean, that most people need to, you know, go through a little bit, go through some hardship, have like bump their head a couple times before they're actually given like that type of responsibility, because having that type of money and having that type of influence is a responsibility. Like, you know, whether you want it to be or not, whether you like it or not, there's certain responsibilities that come with it. And, you know, again, most 19-year-olds, most 20-year-olds are not ready for that shit. Not me. I wouldn't have been ready for that shit. Yeah. At 20 years old, give me fucking shit.
Just
you gave me fucking you gave me fucking $700, $600. I was like, damn, like what's good? Like I'm over here making money. But like, and then you grow up, it's like, yeah, that's $600 ain't shit. Like what? Yeah. But like you don't know any better.
That's one bill I gotta
pay. For real. So it's like, you know, you just, there's certain things that you learn with time, with experience. Yeah. And some people get it a little quicker than others, but some things are just like,
and even development is gone. So I mean, that's also another thing too. Maybe, like I said, if they had somebody to like prep them and be like, okay, I get it. Right. You know, you like this, that's fine. We love that. But you know, kind of, you know, just give a little bit of this.
Well, that's why, and that's, you know, kind of with like, I don't know if you watch like MMA or like boxing or anything like that. I love
it all.
But
MMA and boxing.
Yeah, that's kind of, I watch MMA, UFC a little bit more, but that's kind of like I know it happens in boxing a lot more, where they're really, really meticulous about bringing a fight, especially when there's talent there. They'll have them, you know, fight however many tomato cans and however many fucking people that they know, that just to build that confidence up. So then when he gets to the point where it's like, all right, now's the time where you fighting top guys and things like that, you have that confidence, and they'll bring you along slowly, because they don't want to throw you into the fire too quick. You lose your confidence, you get knocked out, and then, you know, it's kind of like a downward spiral from that point. But it's kind of, you know, I feel like music has kind of lost that a little bit. Again, good and bad with it, you know, now that the middleman's kind of cut out, and you know, some kid in his basement can post some shit on SoundCloud and it gets a million views and it hits. But then again, you're given the world, and now you don't know what the fuck to do with it. You don't have all your ducks in a row. You don't have this. You don't have that. You don't have the guidance, and then you might
have just yes men everywhere. It's just like along for the ride.
Or you might have somebody that, you know, you find an accountant or somebody like that, and they're robbing you from under your nose, robbing you blind, because you're not privy. You don't really have any type of previous knowledge of money management and all those other things. So it again, you know, people get what they get
for the help. It's for the continuation, you know,
right?
Because you say it best too. It's like, you know, you're there, you got it, but next, you said 2-3 year mark, bam, now the next group,
right.
So, and then, you know, some people can't handle that, where it's like, you know,
I was the man, like, and now I'm not. What the fuck? And they start going, you know. But guys like Nelly, guys like 50 Cent, you know, they were able to. Especially 50 Cent. I mean, he was doing it while he was while he was hot. You know, the business mind of it, the business aspect of it, he was really able to capitalize on that. And, you know, he got vitamin water out of it. He's, you know, he's been able to, you know, get all these marketing deals and advertising deals and shit like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it, you know, there is something to, you know, being more than just what your profession is, and, you know, kind of being able to set yourself up and just understanding the nature of whatever you're in. You know, again, you know, sports is another one too, where, you know, the shelf life isn't that, and especially in football, the shelf life isn't necessarily that long.
Yeah.
You got like 2-3 years. So, you know, save your money, kind of.
Yeah. And I don't understand that comparison either. When they say sports is like entertainment, I'm like, no, it's not. I don't see it at all.
I mean, I'm a big sports fan. I definitely see it. There's definitely an entertainment aspect to it, especially when I mean,
like just artists. I mean, like, you know, like when they say like, oh, if you were in sports, you'd be this guy. And I'm like, I don't see it, because remember I was saying the numbers.
Well,
those
because
are fabricated. Where in sports, those are like what you did in 30 minutes, and I gave you that opportunity.
Well, I think it's more so like, especially as sports has grown, personality, you know, people, you know, and I feel like it's the same with rap too. You know, personalities sell. You don't necessarily have to be a great artist, but if you have a personality and people, I mean, no disrespect, Cardi B.
I was just gonna say,
I don't really think she's that great, but she has a personality that people gravitate to. She's funny, she's charismatic, she's this, she's that. So she's been able to, from a stripper, now multimillionaire, platinum artist, you know, businesswoman.
Her likability is
out of, and but that's the same thing with sports. You know, there's people that maybe aren't the greatest talent, or maybe there's players that are better than them, but because they have a personality or because they have a flashy play style, that they're easier to market. So they're going to get more, you know, one guy that Tim Duncan, he's one of the greatest of all time, but like his game is boring as fuck. The
so
big
Magic.
The big fundamental was his nickname. Magic, like Magic Johnson.
I mean, all he had was a flashy pass. I still think he was boring though.
I mean, I think it was also a different style of play. It was the 80s, so there wasn't really a lot of, it was finishing at the rim or finishing at the free throw line. There wasn't really 3-point. Like, they had the 3-point line, but it wasn't really as prominent as
Eddie
it is
Jones
now.
Was more exciting to me. But that's
oh shit!
I'm not a big advocate of Magic Johnson. But you're talking to somebody who I feel like skill for skill, it's just different. Same thing with Shaq. Shaq is just big.
Well, yeah. I mean, that had a big part to do with it. But I mean, if you watch his early days, like, he was running the court.
You know, he was limber, he was quick. Yeah. But I'm just saying,
for a guy that size, though, I mean, there was you weren't seeing. I mean, you don't even see that now, really. I mean, Wemby's that, but he's skinny guy.
I even say Joakim.
Fucking Nuggets guy, Joker. I don't, but he's not as to me.
Talent for talent.
He's probably
it's him.
Yeah, he's more skillful, but athleticism and moving at the size that he's moving at, Shaq that was different. Like he's in a, just because of that, I feel like he's in a place of his own, because I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
Of all time is the Dream,
Hakeem, yeah,
and he was doing him in the finals for someone that was supposed to be the best big man at the time. I'm like,
but his footwork but the skill and the skill, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, athleticism versus skill.
Yeah, I go for skill every time. Skill first, and then, like you said, politics.
Well, because the skill is the athleticism is gonna go before the skill does. Like, for example, Steph Curry, his quickness might leave whatever before, but that 3-point shot is always going to be there.
Yep.
That shit will always be there until he's on his deathbed. He'll probably shoot a 3 before he goes, and then fucking flat line. Oh shit! But fuck, we could wrap it up there. Anything you want to say? Any closing words, closing thoughts before we get out of here? I think this was a great conversation. We touched on a lot of topics. We weren't able to preview any of your music, but I'll leave that to you. You know, and then whenever you post stuff, you know, I'll repost that shit. I'll share that shit on my story. So, yeah, with any last words, anything you want to close out with?
Once again, Eric, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course.
This is always fun. But honestly, just remember, pre-order comes out tomorrow, November 8th. I believe. Yep. Bachelor is coming out. Like I said, full-length project, start to bottom. I really do believe it's great. One of the if not album of the year for me. I'm just gonna let y'all listen to it when it's here. We are gonna preview a little bit, but just keep in mind though, like I said, this is releasing, and first and foremost, I just want to say we're here to inspire both of us. And just keep it like that. People are gonna have their opinions, but always remember too, what do you do it for? And that's one thing I just make sure to always remember, what do I do this for? It's always, one, it's for me, but also two, it's also to remember what I'm gonna leave when I'm not here. And I just would love for someone to always remember me for just being, good-hearted dude, someone who stuck to what he believed in. He stayed true to himself, even in the midst of all the madness, and just staying true to what you believe is true to anything else that you want to see into this life, because you only got one. And when this is all done, if I could make it back, hopefully I'll have some type of memory, and then we'll see, if it really was just one. But yes, thank you once again. No Hangover Podcast. This was definitely an intellectual conversation, and I love that because, it's just people being people, man. This is really just how it is. This is really what interaction is. This is really what life is. It's it's encompassing one another, finding that gap and bridging it.
Facts. Well, man, I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate the kind words. This is episode 241 of the No Hangover Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, rate, follow across all platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. Find us on our socials on Instagram at No Hangover Podcast and on TikTok at No_hangover. Like the reels, comment, let me know what you like, what you don't like. Any topic suggestions, anything that you want to hear me talk about. I'm going to start doing solo videos soon, solo podcasts soon, along with the guests and things like that, because I think this is kind of the essence of what this is, talking, connecting, putting ideas, all that good stuff out there. But, for content purposes and growth purposes, I am going to start doing, more specific solo videos. So let me know what y'all want me to talk about, what you want to hear my opinion on and things like that. Dallas, again, I appreciate you. Look for his album, Bachelor, coming out. And
November 8th, pre-order tomorrow.
There you go.
And comment, because I will be the one to answer back. I love commenting, bro.
Hey, everybody love everybody. Deuces.
Enjoy.